Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to City Skylines Parklife. I certainly hope you're having a wonderful day because I'm certainly excited to be back in the beautiful city of NERDCREST, where things are going pretty well. Currently sitting at $2 million, making almost 10,000 per whatever. We have 50,000 people, almost 51,000 people. And quite a bit of demand for industry. Obviously, that being because this whole area was once industry and is not residential zoning, which is gonna slowly fill up with new people and probably present a whole bunch of problems of its own because traffic, but that's not what I want to work on today. What I want to do is come down to this area because I've kind of had my eye on it for a while, and I want to put an airport in there. So I'm going to put an airport in here. And I'm going to have anarchy on while I do this, because what I want to do is have the runways pretty much right against the water there, and also going out into the water right there. So I think that looks neat. I think that looks kind of cool. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. And we are going to need to ever so slightly adjust the terrain around all of that to make it look a little bit better. But that's totally fine. It won't actually take that long to adjust terrain. It never really does. Let's go ahead and grab this height. Wow. That was not the brush I wanted. Let's grab this height and just sort of rearrange everything just a little smidge. So we'll just sort of do this. I'm going to just bring the terrain out in a fairly ugly way here so that I can clearly see what I'm trying to do with it. Gonna bring it out in a fairly ugly way there as well. And just sort of flatten it all off as best I can so that everything is completely level around the airport. And then what I can do is hopefully select like a node or something. Apparently I can't. What I can do is build a little bit of a road just there, go in, select the entire airport and say, make it the same height as that. And unfortunately, that didn't actually do what I wanted it to do with the runways, which is frustrating because I really hoped it would. I was really hoping that the runways would, you know, behave, but apparently the runways are just going to follow that slope. Which is great because I spent the money on that airport and here we are. That's just excellent. Oh, did that do it? No, it didn't. Well, I managed to fix it. I had to delete and replace the airport, but I managed to fix it and I consider that kind of a success, so it's fine. Let's not worry too much about it. Let's just bring the brush strength down, and let's just smooth out all these edges so this looks a little bit more natural in some way or other. It doesn't really look all that natural, but it's probably fine. We'll just do this sort of thing to smooth out the area a little bit. And honestly, I don't mind this having a bit of a jagged look to it. That kind of just makes it look like they've kind of built up a little bit there, and this bit kind of does as well. Like they've intentionally built up to make sure the runway is as flat as it can be, so I'm okay with that. That rock is gonna need to go though, and honestly the bridge there may be a little bit dangerous, but we'll not stress too much about that. What I would like to do is try and come up with a good system for getting into this airport. So a one-way system would be great. I'll be honest, a one-way system would be fantastic. So I guess I'm gonna try and do something along those lines, because I really don't like that the road, I think the road in front of it at least, yeah, the road in front of the airport is a two-way road. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't think you'd want that road to be two-way, would you? You'd want it to be a one-way road. So this whole thing going through here needs to be I wish I could connect that. The whole thing going through needs to be a one-way road. It's going to be a one-way system, and it's going to be a very similar system to airport roads that I've done before. It's not going to be identical, though. Don't worry. This isn't going to look exactly the same as every other international airport I've built. I want to make this one look kind of neat. I want it to look kind of interesting. I want it to have a road that's sort of dedicated to going to the terminal. And I'd like a road that maybe takes you elsewhere, too. I think that's probably for the best. So I realize I've done a two-way road there. What I actually need is a 4-lane one-way road here. So just going like that. And what we can do is branch off with 2 going that way and 2 going that way, which doesn't actually look half bad, which is great. I wonder if I could get that to curve, though. Like, maybe we go like this, and maybe we go like this. Then over here, we kind of do the same thing, and the same thing. Yeah, that looks a lot better. That looks a lot better. Let's just flip those around. And there we go. So 2 lanes going one, 2 going the other way. That will work out nicely. Basically, you could go straight to the terminal, or you could go down here for whatever reason. That might be buses or something like that. Which makes me think that maybe we want to put some grass on this so that we have some crossings. Otherwise, you know, there's not a lot we can do with the buses. In fact, what I think we'll do is keep those bits normal and put grass on these bits back here so that the buses actually stop in sort of a cutaway area. Because if we put a bus stop on this, it'll cut the grass away and it'll just look a bit better. So I think that'll totally work and will help us to get some crossings in there so that people can actually go from this road across to the terminal, which, now that I think about it, they probably won't because there's no pedestrian crossings right there. Oh well, we'll pretend that there are. It's fine. Totally fine. Totally fine. There we go. We'll put that in there. We'll put this in here. And we'll think nothing else of it. This is totally fine. That'll totally work. I am a little curious about this area back here, though. Don't know what that's going to be. I'll have to figure that out. I will definitely have to figure that out. But first, I kind of want a highway connection. I kind of really want a highway connection here. So I'm going to bulldoze everything back to that point because I need to get some kind of interchange in. It's probably gonna have to be a cloverleaf, if anything, because we're probably gonna need traffic going the other way at some point. So we could do a cloverleaf here, which honestly wouldn't be a terrible idea. No, I think it's gonna have to be here. It's gonna have to be there because that way the highway can go sort of around and connect over to the rest of the city. So that's probably for the best. As for the rest of the highway itself, I think we go maybe that far. I think we can turn on guidelines and go to there. And I think here we can go to that point and to that point, and this is going to be our curve. So let's try and figure this out. It's going to go to there and in, and it's going to go to there and across. All right, that looks totally fine to me. Let's just go ahead and upgrade the rest of this thing so that it's actually got the sound barriers and so that it also has the 2-lane roads where necessary, because not all of this needs to be 3 lanes. There we go. So that will hopefully let people get over towards the airport. I am realizing that I think we're going to have to curve this around in a fairly interesting way. But what I want to do is I kind of want to have like an industrial area around here a little bit so that you can go in and you can go to an industrial space, or you can go in and you can go to the international airport. Nothing too major. I don't think it needs to be some huge industrial space, but I think we could maybe move the nuclear power plant out there, and we could maybe move some other stuff out there as well, like maybe some garbage disposal, something like that. So let's see what we can do, I suppose. I think first things first, we're going to bring this road in a bit. I think we'll go with a regular road like this first. And to be honest, I think I want kind of a large curve on it. So something like that just to start with. And I guess we're going to need it to branch off in a couple of different ways. So let's go that way. Let's go that way. And I guess it's going to have 3 lanes. 2 of them should probably go to the airport. Unless we upgrade it to 4 and then have 2 going either way, which might be an even better idea. So let's go, say, 10 there. And 10 there. Bulldoze you 2, and let's get this connected in a way that's not going to look utterly terrible. Which that kind of doesn't. That kind of works. It's nice and simple. It's nothing too complicated. So all we need to do at this point is bring this road straight over to, I'd say about there. And somehow need to curve it in a nice way towards the airport. So over to there, maybe a little bit further that way. And I guess maybe we just go for a big old curve of some sort. So what is that? 10, 11, 12, 13. So 10, 11, 12, 13. That doesn't quite line up though. No, that really doesn't line up at all. Well, that's a little bit annoying. Was kind of hoping that would line up, but evidently it doesn't. All right, all right. Well, let's see if we can make it happen this time. That looks hideous. That really, really did not look good. So to there, and let's see if I can just go for the direct connection. That's a bit better. It's far from perfect, but it's a bit better. So I'll allow that, and I think that entire road is going to be sort of a get-in lane kind of deal, so that's probably fine. That's probably fine. We're also probably going to need a way for traffic to get out of this industrial area back onto the highway without going directly to the airport, so I might need to figure that out. But first things first, let's get the airport exit sorted immediately. So that's going to go to there. This is going to need to go to there, and we'll just do a nice, simple curve like that. So you can go in, you can go to the airport, but you're also going to need a way to get out of here. So what if we were to do a nice little sort of, I guess, 10 by 10 curve. Turn off the guidelines real quick. 10 by 10 curve in. We could go back out with the same kind of curve. So 10 by 10 there. So that's your way in, that's your way out. We basically then just need this to wrap up and over this road. Or ramp up and over this road. So 10 that way. How are we going to do this? I hadn't really thought about this. What kind of ramp could we do? Can we do like a 9-meter one? So 10, 1, 2, 3. And then straight across. I'm not really wanting to do this as like a... I don't want it to be that kind of just straight bridge though. I'd really like to, I'd really like it to curve. So maybe something like that and that. Okay, that's perfect. That's actually perfect. Okay. I'm really pleased with that. I should say, I haven't actually played Cities. You've probably noticed. Well, actually, I know that you've noticed. I know that a lot of people have noticed I haven't played Cities in a while. I haven't played in a while. And this is actually going really well. This is so unlike me. Usually these things don't work out very well. So this is amazing that it's actually working out as well as it is. Can I get the curve on this to be a little bit better? Like, could I get this to like, yeah, something more like that. Like a bit of a sharper angle would be great. It doesn't look amazing though. I wonder if we maybe just sort of bring this straight over a bit more and then curve it. So something like that. And that perhaps? See, that's not as nice either. That doesn't have the same nice curve to it. So what if we go here, then in like this, and that's sort of going to be where our bend is going to be. So this is kind of going to need to go there like that, and this needs to somehow curve in really nicely. So something like that-ish. If I could get that to work, that would be perfect. But I have a feeling that's not really going to be... I've just got a feeling that's not really going to work out. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. It looks a bit weird, I'll admit. And it does have a roundabout in it, which is maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. but I kind of like it. I think it looks kind of neat. I just got to make some changes to it first because these roads around here are a little bit slow. So this road is going to be increased to 50 miles per hour. And I think we can maybe from here extend it to 60 just the whole way along towards the highway there, just so that traffic will move that little bit quicker. And I think the speed limits around there are probably fine. The speed limit coming in here could probably go to like 60 up to about that point. Actually, it can just say 60 up to there. It's going to be 60 on that road as well. And this is going to be our industrial area. It's also going to be our service area. So let's go ahead and get some stuff in there. I think a large fire station is probably one thing that we're going to want. We're probably going to want a decent-sized police station. And I think some garbage disposal as well. I think some recycling centers in here will be a fantastic thing to have since they're out of the way a little bit. They will generate some traffic, but they're reasonably out of the way. I think the nuclear power plant would be good out here if I had the space for it, which I guess I sort of do. I guess right there kind of works for a nuclear power plant. I mean, it's one of the first things you see coming into the city, but that's probably not that big a deal, right? It's a city where there's a lot of tourism. You know, there is a fairly large focus on tourism, but a nuclear power plant's probably not that big of a deal. It's probably not that big a deal. It's probably all right. We'll just raise up that road a little bit and hope for the best. We'll hope for the best because I think that looks interesting. In terms of other buildings we could put in there, I'm actually thinking that maybe we throw in a biofuel bus depot so that there is actually a bus depot relatively close to this area. It's also going to be a way that I can sort of bridge the gap for power in this entire space, which is a thing that we're going to need to do. And honestly, I think maybe we just start throwing some industry out here. So I think I'll just start throwing a bunch of this in here and see what happens and see what sticks. I don't want the entire thing to be industry. I was actually thinking we could put some offices in, but just looking at it, I don't know if I have the space to do that. So maybe the entire thing will be industry right up to here and right up to there and the whole way along the highway as well. So all of that can just be industry, and I think that'll work. I do think that'll work. Let's just get a little bit in there, a little bit there and there. And let's see if traffic can actually use this area. We've got some pipes in. There's water in there already. We've got the garbage trucks or the recycling trucks heading out. I do think it might be an idea to... the speed limit's going to be 60 on that road. I think maybe we want to look at some junction restrictions here. So you guys can move into the junction despite traffic. That's going to be a thing I want them to be able to do. It's going to be the same there. Going to be the same there. And going to be the same there as well. So they can move into the junction despite the traffic. And I think what I'm also going to do is say that we want you to have priority. And I want you guys to give way, I want you guys to give way, and you guys to give way as well. So traffic on the roundabout should always be moving. Like over here, it's actually looking like the traffic's moving out pretty well. Which is great news. They're going to head out. They're hopefully going to... Yeah, they are going to be joining traffic in a pretty rough way there. Maybe we should look into a little bit more traffic management here. So you guys can go like that lane only. You guys can go there only. You guys can go there. A little bit further up, we'll do our usual like merging thing where you can go one lane across if you want to. And then under here, we're going to do the same thing. So you can go one lane across if you want to. And by this point, any traffic that wants to change lane will be in the correct lane, meaning you are left only, straight on and straight on. And I guess right here is going to need to be a bit of a similar setup so that traffic isn't going nuts. And the good news is we have such a long space here, we can let the traffic just sort of go, you know, in a straight line for a while. So we'll see what that does. It should just help the traffic to move that little bit. And it looks like it might be helping. Let's just adjust, so this bit here is going to be Left only, you are straight on, and you are straight on. You guys are going to be straight on only, and the usual 1-lane switch just here. And we'll see what that does for the traffic. So there we go. We have the 1-lane switch there, straight on, and 1-lane switch back here. And here's hoping that that helps us out a little bit. I'm just going to force the traffic to stay in lane, going pretty far back there, and I'll hope for the best. It looks like it's moving, though, or at least it's trying to. It's definitely trying to. These guys don't even have power yet. That's not good. Also, I should point out, I am totally going to do some stuff around the airport. It's not done yet. I didn't really want to, like, make it ultra detailed just yet. I kind of want to see how the traffic goes around it. I also want to start looking at metro lines, because we don't have any yet, and I want some. Because metro lines are generally a pretty good thing to have, so it would be nice to get some in here, and I think maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a metro line. I'm going to have one that starts here. I'm going to have it go to there, so near that corner. It's going on a fairly straight line. And I kind of like the idea of it going all the way down towards the docks. We can actually connect it directly over there. So maybe that's a thing we do. Maybe it connects out to there and then comes over this way. Although I kind of like the idea of it going down through the city as well. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I like the idea of sort of bringing it down here a little bit. Sort of down here across that main road and out towards the airport. So what if we throw a metro line there? We'll bring one down. We'll put it there. We'll get one at this corner. We'll get one there. They're a little further apart than I'd like. I'm actually thinking I might put one like in the middle there. I know those look quite close together, and they are, but that's fine, probably. Let's see. We have this whole area down here currently getting neglected, which is not good, but we're gonna just have to deal with that. I think what I might do is I'll put a station there, and that's the one that's going to link down this way. So that's going to go to that. No, not there. That's going to go to this corner facing that way. It's going to go straight across to there. And then straight down to that spot there. And that'll bring us a metro line sort of down into the city that way, I guess. Not really sure. I'm not really sure how this is going to work. I'm trying to figure this out. Let's see. What if we did a metro station there and there as well? And then maybe over this way too. Is it obvious I'm trying to figure this out? Is it obvious that I'm sort of going through this in my head and trying to figure out what the best way to do this would be? Because it should be. Should be really, really obvious. Let's see. I think I want one here as well. Those are quite far apart, though. I don't like that. What about there? That's a little better, and then one here as well. Okay, let's start connecting these so I can actually show you what I'm thinking. Because I realize I'm not doing a very good job of that. I'm just saying a lot of that goes there and that goes there, which it's not the most descriptive kind of thing. So we're gonna do that. Very sharp turn, I'm well aware. But to be honest, if you've seen me play this game before, you know how I do metro lines. You are well aware of my method for metro lines. And you are well aware of my feelings on going into uber detail with my metro lines. So don't at me, bro. That's pretty much where I'm at on those. Let's bring this over to here. Turn on the guidelines, and let's see if I can get this to line up, which I totally can. So there we go. So obviously that's a pretty lengthy section of track there. Not too worried about that. Not really too worried about that at all. This is gonna go straight across. This is gonna go straight across, and this is gonna go to there, essentially. Now let's see. That might not actually be what I want to do here. I kind of want to curve this around a little bit. So if I go lower, so we go lower, we go that way, and we sort of come back up like this a little bit. Not the neatest in the world, but it means that we're going to have a lot of pedestrians going back and forth between those two stations, and I'm kind of okay with that. So that's going to link down that way. This stop here is going to kind of be a similar setup. So that right there, that crossing is going to have a lot of people wanting to go from one station to the other. I could go to the workshop and I could absolutely get some of those multi-track stations, and that probably wouldn't be a bad idea. But I think I say that every time I do metro lines. I think every time I do metro lines, I always say the same thing. I should probably go get multi-tracks, and I never do it, so. For the time being, let's assume that I'm probably never going to get multi-track stations, and let's just stick with my mess that works for me. So that's going to go to there. This is going to curve into that station. And I think that's maybe going to be the one that links to the airport, to be honest. Because it comes out in a pretty good way. Like, this can go way out there. This can go way up there. And let's see if we can get just a nice curve going on. So to there and in. All right. So let's get some lines. Let's get some metro moving through here. This one's obviously going to go that way and the whole way up through all of those neighborhoods to that station and then back. And that will link that whole area together. That'll let people go out to the airport if they want to go out to the airport. This one right here, similar setup. It's going to go from station to station and back again. This one also goes through the tourist area just a little bit, which might be kind of cool. We might see people transfer into that line a lot. By the way, I usually do loops, just in case this is anyone's first time seeing me play City Skylines. I usually do loops of my metro lines, but the city's not quite big enough for that. Usually my cities with metro lines are just these sprawling things. This one's actually quite small. This city is on a much smaller scale to what I usually do, and it's a bit weird. It's a bit of a challenge. But hopefully that'll work out. Hopefully we'll see people using the metro just there. I actually want to have a little look at some of the stations. We have a couple of people down there. We should end up with quite a lot of people in these ones, which is making me think that maybe we want to do some kind of bridge setup there. Could be an idea. What if we turn off the guidelines, go to here and say raise that up, bridge across there, and go down to those paths? Now that's way too big though. That's way too high up. So just like lower that significantly. And that looks reasonable to me. That actually looks like it'll work out. I am just thinking we maybe want to stop people from crossing the roads there. So maybe junction, I said junction, no people crossing there. So you can no longer cross on that bit of road. Meaning they will be forced to use that bridge. Or they'll cross over here. Which actually looks like that's what they're doing. Yeah, that's totally what they're doing. They're not using the bridges at all. Fantastic. Okay. We'll not stress too much about that. That's fine. It looks like there is a lot of people. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Not bad at all. This should be a very similar story. It absolutely is. A lot of people using that station. Fantastic. Anyone using it for the airport? There's like one person there. Fair enough. There's like one guy down there. That'd be weird. I've actually been that one guy in the airport before. It's a really weird experience. I was, I don't know if I feel like I've probably told this story before. I was seeing a concert in Manchester a couple of years ago, and I flew over. The concert was, I think the doors opened at like 8. I got like a 5 o'clock flight to Manchester, and got an Uber to the venue. And then after the concert, I was like, oh, well, I didn't get a hotel because the idea was like, I'd just go home. I didn't think it was necessary to get a hotel, and it wasn't. I didn't need a hotel. I didn't really want one. I didn't want to pay for it. So I went straight back to the airport, and I spent 3 or 4 hours watching David Attenborough documentaries on Netflix on my phone while sitting in the arrivals area of the airport because the departure lounge was closed. I think at 3:30 or 4 a.m., I think the departures area opened up and security opened up so I could go through and actually check in. And I was the first person through security that day at Manchester Airport. And it was a weird experience. It was a really weird experience. Everyone was super happy and super bright and friendly, for one, which is weird because it's airport security. And for two, I was being the first person through, it was suddenly this like, oh my God, there is literally no one. None of the stores were open. None of the stores were open. The only thing open was the lounge. So I immediately bought my way into the lounge, but none of the stores were open. So I walked through the duty-free area, which I don't know if it's the same across the world for duty-free areas, but it's like the duty-free area is this like, it's like a parade. I always think of it like a parade because it's like you're walking through here and there's people on either side of you in these like stores that are like, they're open stores. They don't have walls dividing them. And it's just people on either side of you holding products and looking at you and smiling like, come in, buy our thing that you didn't know you needed. And it's really strange. But I walked through and there was no one. There was no one trying to sell me things. And then I walk into the main part of the airport, like the main part of the departures area. There is no one. There's no one sat around. There's no one at all taking up a seat. Even the screens, none of the screens were on. None of the flight information was displaying. It was 5 or 10 minutes later that stuff started displaying. It was a really weird experience. It was a really, really weird experience. I don't know if that's described it very well or not, but it was a really strange experience. I don't know if I ever want to be the first person in an airport again. I'll be honest. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. Like, have any of you watching this ever been in an airport and been like the only person there? And I mean like this is an international airport. This isn't like a little domestic airport because I've been in those alone before. I was in one of those in Sweden, actually. I was in one of those on my own for a little while, and that was weird. But that was weird for a different reason because that was like in the middle of the countryside and it was just me standing around for 20 minutes waiting on my taxi driver. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's a story. That is a story. Oh, wow, this is all messy looking. Look at that. Ew. That is a story that I'd be very surprised anyone can relate to because it was awfully specific. But if you can, do let me know in the comments below. And with that in mind, I think I'm going to leave it there for today. So thank you kindly for watching. This has been City Skylines Parklife part whatever it is. It's been my pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.